Now, let us look at the first stanza, strofe 1. It says here, dis hier, wat ons twee skei, jy haat en ek. Okay, this is where we two separate. You, heart, and I. Okay, so the sky over here, the separation, okay, it's more of like a break up. Okay, the separation here is more of a breakup, like the breaking up, shame. Okay, and the heart, when we're referring to the heart, we're talking about emotions. Okay, remember guys, I did mention that whenever we talk about the heart, we refer it or we associate it with emotions. Okay, and whenever we talk about the head or the brain, or the mind, we refer to it, we associate it with logic, reasonings, and all that. Okay, so let us look here. It says here, die besluit om te skei is eensaidig. Okay, so like this whole decision to separate, it is one-sided. Okay, eensaidig. Because guys, remember that it is the brain that decided, the head that decided that no, I can't do it anymore. Okay, I need to separate with you. So it's one-sided. Okay, the heart didn't really have a say in this. Okay, it says here, die ek het besluit om van die hart, okay, jy te skei, okay? So the I decided to separate from the heart, okay? If you look at the first stanza over here, it says jy hart en ek, okay? You hearts, the you is the heart, okay? And I, who is the I? The I is the brain, okay? Sorry for my handwriting, die hoof, okay? Cool. Now, it says here, die heart het nie sê oor die besluit nie. Okay, so the heart had no say in the decision. Okay, and in this in the first line we see in versie, okay, reverse word order, die ek is aan die einde van die versreël om die ek te beklemtoon. Okay, so the I is at the end of the sentence to emphasize the I, because normally the ek is supposed to be, somewhere right in front over here, okay, according to Stompy. Right, so the writer did that, put it at the end of the sentence to emphasize the I, okay, and heart over here, notice that it is written in capital letters, okay, woord met 'n hoofletter geskryf, okay, and we are basically personifying it, okay? It's a personification. Why do you think that is so? Why do you think the heart is being personified? It is because your emotions, okay, are described as a person to whom the speaker is talking to. So we're going to take the heart as a person. We're taking the heart as a person, okay? So your emosies word as 'n persoon beskryf met wie die spreker praat, okay? So your emotions are described as a person to whom the speaker is speaking, okay? Cool. It says here, sy praat met die hart asof dit 'n persoon is, okay? So she's talking to the heart as if it was a person, okay? That is why the heart is in capital letter, because it's being personified. We're treating it as a person, okay? Say it no of hier, okay? Besluit dat die hart van die ek, okay, hoof of verstand moet skei, okay? So she has decided now, okay? She has decided now or here, okay? When we refer to something that's happening now, it is in the present tense, okay? In the here, okay? So it is now she decides that no, we must separate. I can't do this anymore, okay? And the here over here, okay, sê het nou besluit dat haar emosies, okay, oorgevoeligheid of te sensitief nie meer haar lewe gaan oorheers nie. Okay, so she has decided that her emotions, okay, when we talk about emotions, it's always associated with oversensitivity, guys. When you're filled with emotions, you're oversensitive or you're too sensitive, okay? So the brain is deciding that no, the heart will no longer dominate my life anymore, okay? And sy is baie ernstig, okay? She's very, very serious, okay? Sy neem 'n definitiewe besluit, okay? She takes a definitive decision. Guys, what does it mean to take a definitive decision? It means that after the decision is taken, there is no buts, there is no if, there is not why, there is no what if we could turn back time. There is none of that, because a no is a no. What I say we will do it, okay? And here over here, it is the end of the road, okay? It's the end of the road, okay? Die einde van die pad word aangekondig, okay? So the end of the road is announced. She's like, bye-bye, we are separating, okay? Alright, guys, it says here, die aandagstreep, okay? Why is it useful? It says there, 'n verduideliking volg na die aandagstreep. An explanation is following the dash, okay? And it says here, vestig die aandag op wie die ons is, wat moet skei, okay? So this is also there to draw attention to who, to the we, to who is the we that needs to separate, okay, to the we that is separating. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, and it says here, we all know who's separating the heart, okay, the heart, and the ek. The ek is the hoof, okay, the head. Okay, so it says here, die gevolg van die spreuke kan hier as ironieus gesien word, want die hart kan nie van die hoof geskei word nie, die twee staan in verhouding teenoor mekaar, okay? So the feeling of the speaker here can be seen as ironic, guys, because we cannot literally separate the head from the heart, okay? The head and the heart work hand in hand, even in the circulatory system. Okay, so these two are in relation to each other, okay? Because literally you cannot separate both of them. Okay, and also the dash is kind of like a visual representation of the separation, because look at this dash over here. The dash is separating this and this, so it's kind of like a visual what is it called, a visual separation, okay? Think of it that way. So it says here, die woord heart word genoem in plaas van emoties, okay? So, like I told you, the word heart is mentioned instead of emotions, but we definitely know that when we're talking about the heart, we are actually referring to the emotions, okay? It says here, klem val op die emoties, okay? So, it's there to emphasize, the emotion, okay? Die styl, vergeer, okay? The figure of speech is called a synecdoche, okay? In English, synecdoche, okay? And a synecdoche is a word, a hold that is indicated by a part or something that is understood together with something else, okay? So it's basically me using another word related to what I actually want to say to talk about that thing. Like, for example, if I say South Africa won the Rugby World Cup, okay? South Africa did not literally win the Rugby World Cup. It is the Springbok, okay? Cool. Same idea goes for the heart. When we're talking about the heart, we're actually referring to the emotions. If I say South Africa won the Rugby World Cup, we're actually talking about Springbok. Okay, so let us look at lines 2 over here. Albei tot afskeid, so onvoorbereid. Both so unprepared for the farewell. Okay, the both that they're referring to over here is the heart and the head. The heart and the hoof, okay? And the afskeid, the farewell, okay? Om tot ziens te sê of te groet, okay? So it's like to say goodbye, okay? We all know what a farewell is, you know, like a bye-bye, okay? And in this line, we have assonansie, okay, assonance, herhaling van die I-klank en A-klank, A-klank, okay, I-klank and A-klank, okay, so it is the repetition of the A sound over here. Look at this, albei, afskeid, and onvoorbereid, okay, and the A as well, A and A, okay? So it is there to emphasize that the speaker is determined, or she's firm in her decision, okay? Beklemtoon dat die spreker beslees oor vasbeslote en haar besluit is, okay? She's like, no, I need to take this definite decision. Okay, onvoorbereid, unprepared, okay? What was unprepared? Die scheiding of the afskeid, okay? The separation or the farewell was unprepared, okay? Gaan nie maklik wees nie, want hulle was nie voorbereid daarop nie, okay? So it's not going to be easy because they were not prepared for it, okay? You know, sometimes we find ourselves in situations where I was not prepared to make a decision, but it just came out of nowhere. I'm like, no, I have to make a decision, okay? First point over here, it says, die scheiding is onverwachts of moeilijk om te aanvaar, okay? So this separation is very unexpected, onverwachts, and it's very difficult, okay? Moeilijk, it's very difficult to accept, okay? Die spreker is sentimenteel daaroor, okay? So the speaker is very sentimental about it, okay? And if you look at the full stop, die punt, okay? What is the full stop? The full stop is the end, okay? The end of a sentence, okay? It is there also to kind of give us that, you know, if you think about it, not poetically, but I would say creatively, it's also there to kind of like say this is the end of the line, this is the end of our road, our journey, okay, it's over, okay, the decision is final, okay? So die punt aan die einde van die versreël dui daarop dat die besluit finaal is, okay? So that full stop at the end of the sentence, at the end of the line indicates that the decision is final, okay? Cool. It's how we say, like, for example, period. When you say period, it means full stop. Like, that's that. Okay. So, Line 3 over here, it says here, die weg was lieflik, waar langs jy geleid. Okay, so the path you led was lovely, okay? Die weg that they're referring to, the way, they're talking about die lewenspad, okay? The way of life or or life's journey or whatever, okay? And here we find, in this line we find alliteration, alliteratie, herhaling van die W klank, okay? The repetition of the W sound, weg was, waar langs, okay? And it's there because it gives it a very like lyrical tone to the poem, okay? Gee 'n sangerige toon aan die gedig, okay? And we also see what is it called? I would say apostrophe, okay? 'n leesie of klankweglating, okay? Like an apostrophe over here, guys. Apostrophes are usually there to shorten the words, okay? You know, instead of us saying a really long words, we just squeeze them together, put an apostrophe, and the word just, it's easy to say, okay? Well, it's easy and faster to say. Okay, so it's actually supposed to be gelei het, okay? Okay, and this is in the past, okay? You led, sorry, the path that you led, okay? Cool, but they just smashed it together and it is geleid. And the reason being, okay, ter wille van die ritme en rempatroon, okay? It is for the sake of the rhythm and the rhyme pattern, okay? It says here, sy noem hier dat die hart haar na nooi plekke, sorry, haar na mooi plekke, okay, leeflik gelei of geneem het, okay? So here she mentions that the heart led her or took her to beautiful places, okay? Although we're separating, I'm looking back at the past and I'm thinking of the beautiful places you took me. Maybe, for example, the boy that you were supposed to break up with, you decided to listen to your heart and this boy was taking you out for dinner everywhere and like you were enjoying it because free dinner. Who doesn't like free dinner, okay? Free dinner. Or you listen to your heart and something told you go and get that job that you don't really feel like you fit in, and you enter the job, you meet lovely people even though the pay is really bad, okay? So the heart led her and or took her to very beautiful places, okay? So she enjoyed it. Cool. First bullet point, it says here, sy het lief gehad en het goeie tye ervaar, okay? She loved and experienced good times, okay? Although she wants to separate with the heart, she does admit that, hey, we had fun, okay? It was a good journey, okay? Gelei het, okay? Led, in the past, okay? So it says hier, die woord gelei, dui ook daarop dat die hart in beheer van die verstaan was, okay? So the word led also indicates that the heart was in control of the mind, okay? So you led, the part that you led was lovely. So back in the days, you were the one taking control. Now it's a no-no. I will take my position. I'll stand still and I will not let you come and dominate me. Lines 4. Maar dis verby. Al staar jy terug, nou strek die pads langs klowe, afgrond en moeras. Okay, but it's over even if you stare back. Now stretch the roads along the ravines, the precipice and swamps. Okay, so the maar over here, he was saying that no, you led a lovely path, but, okay, so there's a change, okay, there's a turn, there's a change, there's a turning point, there is a verandering, there's a wending, okay? So, redes vir die spreker se besluit word gegee, okay? So the reasons for the speaker's decisions are given, okay? It says here, klowe, afgrond en moeras, dangerous places, okay? Aanvanklik was die pad mooi, maar dit is nou verby, okay? So like at first the road was beautiful, it was lovely, leeflik, but now it's over, okay? You see this track over here, okay? The road stretches, okay, the stretch. We're talking about the road ahead, okay? Die lang pad voor haar het nou gevaarlik geword, okay? So like the long road ahead of her has now become dangerous, you know? Now it gets to a point where if I listen to my heart, I will get in trouble. My heart is gonna bring me to very, not difficult, dangerous places, okay? It says here, die hart mag daar verlang geen terugstaar na wat was, maar dit is verby, okay? So the heart is longingly gazing back at what was, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss this, I'm gonna miss that. But now it's over. It's over now. We can't think about it. So, it says here, dit gaan nie help om terug te verlang na wat was nie. Sy het haar besluit geneem, okay? So it doesn't help to look back at what was because she has made a decision. Her decision is definitive, okay? So sy is vast beslote om dit hier te voer, okay? So she's very determined to see it through. She's like, let's get this done and over with. I'm tired of you, okay? So, die hart wat staar, okay? The heart that stares, guys, that's a personification because your heart cannot literally stare, okay? That is a personification. Cool. So now it says here, al staar jy terug, okay? Even though you stare back. Die hart wil nie die besluit om te skei aanvaar nie. So the heart will not accept the decision to separate, okay? So, verlang terug na die tyd toe hy nog in beheer was. Okay, so she's longing back for the time when she was still dominating, she was still in control and all that, okay? So, in this line, we see a contrast, okay? Teenstelling of contrast, okay? And the contrast is, remember, the brain said that the path you led was lovely, okay? Leeflik, okay? Very positive. We went there, we did this, okay? But now all of a sudden, he says, no, but looking ahead, you're gonna bring me into ravines or cliffs or swamp. Okay, now it's very negative, guys. Whenever we think of a swamp, especially in movies, it's very dangerous places where there's dangerous fishes. The atmosphere is just so bad. Okay, cool. It says here, this hollow bullet point, it says that die pad waarop die hart haar nou lê, het gevaarlik geword. Okay, so the path that her heart is now leading has become very dangerous. Okay, sy kan nie meer haar hart vertrou nie. Okay, so she cannot trust her heart anymore. Okay, it gets to a point. So, it says here, terwyl sy na haar hart geluister het, was die pad lekker of aangenaam, maar nou dat sy na haar verstaan gaan luister, besef sy dat die pad moeilike gaan raak, dit gaan gevaarlik wees en met tye mag dit onbegaanbaar wees. Okay, so while she listened to her heart, the road was pleasant, the road was good, it was, all that, but now she's going to listen to her mind. Okay, she realizes that the road is going to become more and more difficult. Okay, it's going to be dangerous and at times it may be impassable. Okay, so this over here, dit is verwys na die positiewe of gooi tye wat nou verby is. So this over here refers to the positive or the good times that are now over, okay? En verby en nou die op tyd verloop het, okay? Verby and now, okay, it indicates that time has passed, okay? Tyd verloop, a change of time. Whew, okay, so we have a contrast between lines 3 and lines 5 because you first say die weg was leeflik, okay, so the path was lovely, and now you tell me die pad langs slowe afgaan en moeras. Now you're telling me that the road along is full with ravines, cliffs and swamps and all that, okay, so there's a contrast there. Let us read lines 6 to 8. It says here, line 6, it says here, voorheen in hulle vaart soos altyd, en nooit in staat tot enige besluit, en siek daarby, is jy nou net 'n las, okay? So, impetuous and a coward as always, and never capable of making a decision, and sick as well. You're just a burden, guys, very strong words. Imagine telling someone this, okay? Cool. So, it says here, in this line, redes word gegee, hoekom sy so vasbeslote is, om van die hart te skei. Okay, so like the reasons are given why she's so determined to separate from the heart. Okay, it says here, negatiewe kenmerke van her heart word genoem. Okay, so the negative characteristics of her heart are mentioned, guys. They say that she's impetuous. They called her a coward. They called her burdened. These are very negative characteristics. Okay, sy beskuldig die hart dat sy voorheen impulsief of oorhaastig of jy doen voor jy dink was. Okay, so she accuses the heart of being impulsive or hasty or doing before you think. Okay, when you're impetuous, you basically don't think. When it comes to making decisions, like you rush things, you just do it. Okay, you know when they say think before you act, the heart doesn't think and act. It acts, and then after the consequences, it then starts thinking. Okay, cool. It says here, a lafaard was, okay? A lafaard is someone that's dwaas, bankbrood, nie dapper nie. Okay, so like a coward is someone that's a fool, okay? It's foolish, okay? Not brave, okay? A scaredy cat, not a scaredy cat, sorry, a scaredy pants, okay? You know when they say, no, go do it, and you're like, no, I don't want to do it, okay? You're basically being a coward, okay? So, a lafaard, a coward is being compared to impetuous, okay? It says hier vergelijking, okay? There's a comparison, okay? Contrast tussen voorheen en levaar. There's a contrast between being impetuous and a coward, okay? Die hart is wel voorheen, okay? So the heart is very impetuous, you know, doesn't think before acting. He just does things in a rush or hastily, okay? It says here, gaan oor tot aksie, okay? Just takes actions, okay? But as dan a levaar, okay? So you're calling me impetuous, I just do whatever I want, but then you call me a coward, scared to do what I want to do. It makes no sense, okay? There's a contrast there, okay? You're calling me impetuous, I do what I want, anytime, whatever, and then you call me a coward. You're telling me that I'm scared to act, okay? Cool, it says here, nooit 'n besluit kon neem nie, okay? Like you never take a definitive decision, like a straight decision, okay? Someone that is very indecisive, besluiteloos, okay? Hy was besluiteloos, he's very indecisive. En die hart het dikwels uit jammerste, leefde oor te wille van vrede, die onaangename vir my, okay? Het nie standpunt ingeneem of geweg vir wat reg was nie, okay? So, the heart often has desire to forgive out of pity and love and for the sake of peace, okay? To avoid unpleasantness, okay? And the heart did not stand or fight for what was right. So the heart just did whatever, okay? It says here, die hart kon nie realisties besluite neem nie, okay? So the heart could not make realistic decision. Okay, it says here, die heart is ook sick, okay, the heart is also sick, dat is iets fout met die heart, okay, there's something wrong with the heart, not that it's sick, like it has like lung disease, oh, not lung disease, how can you be a heart with lung disease, not that it has like some sort of disease or whatever, it's just sick as in there's something wrong with you, why do you not think before you act, okay, so, verwys na die tye wat sy hartseer was, okay, so it refers to the time when she was sad, okay, when the heart was sad, okay, cool. It says here, all day, the always over here. It tells us that die spreker se emosies haar besluite dikwels of baie kere oorheers het, okay? So that always tells us that the speaker's emotions often or many a time would influence her decision, okay? So the heart would always dominate, okay? Because they say you always. It means that this is not the first time. You do this often, okay? This is your roll call, okay? Now, it says here, daar is bitterheid in vers 8. Okay, there's bitterness in the 8th line. It says here, sê die hart nou nie meer nodig nie. She doesn't need the heart anymore. Die hart is nou net 'n las. The heart is only just a burden now, okay? Die hoof lê nou en die hart is net 'n oorlas. Okay, so now the head is leading and now the heart has become just a nuisance, okay? Die droompad waar langs die hart gelê het plek gemaak vir ontnigtering of teleurstelling, okay? So that dream path along which the heart was leading has given way to illusions and disappointments, okay? Cool. Not illusions, like delusions. You know when someone is being delusional. Okay, enjabement. We find enjabement from lines 6 to 7. This is the definition, okay? When one line flows into the next line without any use of a punctuation. We all know what enjabment is, okay? Why is it there? Maak die tempo vinniger sodat die gedig kan flow, okay? It makes the tempo fast so that the poem can flow, okay? It also substantiates the fact that sy is haastig om haar besluit deur te voer om verdere probleme te voorkom, okay? She's also in a hurry to implement a decision. Why? To avoid further problems. She doesn't want any problems, okay? Guys,